Or not? I think we're live now.
It did do it.
Okay. Hi guys. So I'm here with Anna White. She's with Coldwell Banker, and we're gonna give it a couple of seconds for people to come in if you're gonna come in, because I don't want to have to backtrack. So we'll just give it a couple seconds. But while we're doing that, do you want to just introduce yourself and tell them how long you've been doing real estate and kind of why you got into it?
Okay. So yes, my name is Anna White. I am with Coldwell Banker. It's okay. I'm with Coldwell Banker. It's okay if you don't pronounce it correctly. I've been doing real estate for about a year and a half. I'm under Coldwell Banker, and I have mentors who have many, many years in the business. I got into real estate because I purchased a home from overseas, and my experience was so awesome from my realtor that it was kind of like, I want to help, people do that. So that's pretty much what geared it. So my first year here, I kind of made it a New Year's resolution. Okay. Well, I didn't get to to it. So then a couple years later, a couple years later, I was like, for this year, I'm going to accomplish some of my previous year resolutions. And one of them was to become a realtor. So here I am.
Hi guys, say hi to Anna. See, this is why Anna's my dad. Hey, this is why I need the thing up on my phone, because girl, I cannot see. Y'all deal with me. I cannot see for nothing to save nobody's life.
Happy belated Father's Day today.
All right. Okay. So boom. Here we go.
Oh, perfect.
So let me turn it down so it doesn't interfere with the. Okay, so basically this is just for, it's supposed to be an informational but interactional. So if you have questions, if you're in the process, if you're thinking about buying a home but you just don't know where to start, then write in your questions. That's why I brought somebody that could answer, because y'all, even though I have hours, I'm not an expert at all. So I brought in that. So we were going to have another one, but if we can't touch on something in this one, then we'll have a part 2, and I'll bring her name, Nikita, in with us. Hey, Ashley. So basically, when you're thinking about buying a house, what are some things for you to consider before you even think about how many rooms you want and all the perks? What realistically should you consider?
So the first thing that I kind of, when someone comes to me and they ask me, hey, I want to buy a house. My first thing is, what is your time frame? Mm-hmm. Okay, are you renting right now and you just signed a 12-year lease? Right. Okay, well, we can't buy a house tomorrow. We have to wait until your lease is up. So normally I kind of gear it towards, let's be towards the end of a lease, or we're coming close. Mm-hmm. I try to shoot, if you're in a lease, if you're renting or something like that, I tell people 6 months out. If you're within that 6 months, then we kind of got to get the ball rolling. We gotta go. The biggest thing. So then my next thing to them is pre-approval.
Yeah. Okay.
A lender. I have local lenders here that I kind of recommend, but some people want to go through the bank that they do most of their transactions with. That's a big thing. There's no point in us running to see 100 houses and you fall in love with all these houses, and then you find out that you're pre-approved for something that is not in that budget. So we want to kind of get to that first. Let's see how much we have to deal with.
Okay. And so how much does your debt to income ratio and your credit play into that? Is there a certain range where it's if you're within this, then you're good, but otherwise you just need to step it up?
So most of the around this area are military. So most of our loans that we kind of deal with are VA. Now VA, I try to tell my buyers 580. Your credit score needs to be 580. Can it be lower?
I thought that was
depending on certain circumstances, but that's as low as far as VA. Some lenders can, have some wiggle room, and 580 does depend on, kind of case by case. Everything is case by case. We'll say that, but 580 is kind of your baseline. 580 is not what you want. You kind of want to be higher than that. If you want to stay at 600s, 620s, let's shoot high. Okay.
So Ashley said they really want to buy a home. Her and her husband have been in business for themselves for only a year. Should they continue to rent, or is a year in business a good place to start?
Are they, so that depends as well. So when you purchase a home, the lender, they look at, I believe, 2 years of IRS information. Again, it's case by case. Being a self-employed individual is a whole nother situation as well, because you don't get W-2s. It's 1099s, or depending on what you do, it's different. So my best suggestion would be to speak to a lender. I'm not a lender, so I'm not gonna say, yeah, you can buy a house. I'm not gonna do that.
Ashley, I know that you were in the military. Or would you be using a VA, or would you be using like FHA? We are going to be speaking from VA because that's what I use, and that's where my experience is from. And then, like she said, around here, most people are already military. So if you're not really looking for a VA or something like that, it's not, we're not trying to cut you out. It's just that I don't know. So I don't want to advise you guys. Oh, somebody said hello to you.
Hello.
Revelator Marvin.
Oh, that's my cousin.
Okay, so as far as the process goes, you know, you said pre-approval. Okay, so then what's next?
So your pre-approval, once you get your pre-approval, we can go have fun. We can go look at all the houses, and you can tell me what you want. That's when it's time to get kind of nitpicky. You kind of gear down your time frame. Okay, so I got pre-approved for this amount. All right, I want to be in my house by this time frame. Let's go. You'll send me what you want, how many bedrooms you're looking for, bathrooms you're looking for, the location. Hey, I want an open concept, or I want a eat-in dining room, or I don't want popcorn on the ceilings.
Right.
That's when I come in and I go and I search, and I send you what I find, and you like, hey, I like all of these houses, and we set up times and we go run for the hills. But I think pre-approvals, shop around for a good rate. Don't just go with one person. When I recommend lenders, I send at least three lenders, because I might send you to XYZ lender and their rate is 6%, and then I send you WZZ
which is a lot.
lender, and that is a high. I mean, rates aren't that high yet. Just example, but yeah, shop around for a rate. You know, just like when you're shopping for a car. I know a lot of people feel like it's going to hit their credit score hard, but it's kind of like when you shop for a car. You kind of got that window. So talk to lenders. Don't go 150 lenders, but you know, get a good handful of lenders.
My dad said, could you please explain what perks come with the VA loan?
So as far as a VA loan, now I don't have all the perks, but the ones that kind of mostly stand out is there's no down payment. A lot of people feel like when they go to buy a house that they need 10%, 5%, 3% down. With a VA loan, because we're military, we kind of are, you know, grateful that, you know, we don't have to have a down payment. Doesn't mean you don't need any money to buy a home, because you will need your earnest money deposit, like your good faith deposit. I tell my buyers to probably set aside some money for the inspector if we can't get that included in your closing costs. Another thing is some lenders, not all, will waive origination fees and lender fees that come with other loans because you're military.
Can you just explain like the origination? Because like I know if this is new to you, like those terms are foreign. So
I'm not good. So I won't go into that.
Okay.
I will say the lender can do most of the explaining for that.
Okay.
But it's just pretty much their fees to cover the loan.
Yeah.
Their fees to cover the loan. Like it's not a free loan, if that makes any sense. A lender would probably be best to explain that. I don't want to dabble on that side of it.
That's fine. We can keep it moving, keep on moving. I'm just making sure we're not missing anybody over here.
Is that VA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let you to know.
Oh, it's I can still hook you up there.
Okay, so then we're looking, and let's say we find a house we like. Okay, we make an offer.
Yes.
Cool.
So say we're searching and you're like, this is the house. I love this house. I want to make an offer on this house. So before I even show you the house, more than likely, I've done my research on it. I've ran comps with our comparisons to see if that house is priced, competitively. And I think it's a good price. And as we walk through the house, I'll let you know that information. Like, hey, it's listed at this. The comps support it, or the comps don't support it. I think we should go in at this if you do like it. And then you pretty much say, hey, okay, well, I like it. I either want to give it full price because the market is so hot. Things are going fast. Or you say, hey, I want to submit it at this price. And I say, okay. I do everything electronically, or if you want to do it in person, and I got some old-fashioned people that like to, sign their name. We can do that too, but mostly everything is electronic. You can either come back to my office with me and we'll draft it up, or you can go have lunch or something and I'll draft it up and I'll email it to you. Okay. And we send it over to the listing agent who's listing the home for sale, and they present it to their sellers, and we either wait, they'll either counter it, deny it, or accept it.
What are some reasons that they would deny it?
So most of the times if they deny it, it's because it's a multiple offer situation. So say this house hit the market this morning and it's priced right and a bunch of people love it, and there's like 6 offers on the table. Yeah, and yours was not the best. It wasn't the highest. You thought it was worth less than what it was. So they were like, oh, we're going to go with this, then, as opposed to this offer. So then they'll deny it. Okay. Now, if it's just one offer, if it's just your offer and you're like, hey, I want to offer this, and it's, within reason, normally they'll counter back and they'll say, okay, no, we won't accept that, but we can offer you, this amount. Okay.
So when it comes down to closing, because this is like the very last thing before you're like, no joke, you have your keys, which is the most exciting feeling. What are some things that you should go into closing expecting to either do or present?
So pretty much, if you've made it to the closing table, the hard part is over. You've done everything. Closing is pretty much all that paperwork that you signed, the road to closing, literally the paperwork you signed on the road. You get to pull into the parking lot and you get to sign it all.
Every page.
Yes,
okay.
Every single page.
Oh my goodness.
So pretty much the biggest thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that either the day before or the day of closing that you go and you do a walkthrough of your home, because you want to make sure that that home is in the condition that you discussed in your contract, or that you discussed when you walked through, when you wrote the offer. You don't want to walk in, to the day of and there's no refrigerator, there's no stove, half the windows are hanging off the thing. So you just want to make sure that it's intact. And if it's not, then we need to kind of hold on at this closing table. I mean, we got to go back a couple miles and figure this out. And if it is, then we just go in there and we smile,
The biggest part.
Come on. You come out of there with carpal tunnel. Well, the buyer does, from signing them papers again in person. And you walk away with keys, and you walk away happy. And it's like the best feeling in the world. So
one of the biggest things that I wanted to touch on when she was talking about comparing lenders is because like you'll come across a rate, like let's say it's 3.6, and then there's another one that's like maybe 3.8 or even 4.0. But like even though it sounds like points difference, it's a matter of like thousands of dollars over the span of your loan. So really make sure you're getting a good rate and make sure it's fixed. So you don't got to worry about, things sliding and things getting more expensive on you. But I was just going to talk about my experience and kind of some of the lessons that I learned. So I've been in my house a little over a year. And when I first got here, so I live in Florida, but I was in Little Rock prior to this, but I was on a deployment. So like I came back from my deployment in January and I was PCSing here in February. So I really didn't have any time to come and like look and see, what I could do. So I stayed with a friend for a couple months and looked that way. And then I came across the neighborhood that I live in now, and I like it. What I will say is that for me, like it's me and my son, you know what I mean? So where I live is probably about 30 minutes away from where I work. Now, closer to base, it's more convenient, but it's way more expensive. So for me, just being like one income, I was like, okay, if I want to buy, it would be more convenient for me to go here. However, I was only thinking in terms of a house. I think that now they build townhomes and like condos so nice that you really could get away with buying your first property like as a townhome or something like that, or, you know, looking at something that might need to be fixed up. You don't really have to go for like all the bells and whistles, especially for your first property. And so I think that's for me, especially when the camera's away, like I come in and I look around and I'm just like, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
for what? You know what I mean? So don't narrow your search. You know, make sure you're considering all things, considering all aspects, and make sure it's just something that you want. Don't, because I know when they were like, well, why you know, everybody got an opinion, right? Why do you want to buy here? Why do you want to buy this much? Why do you want to do this? Know what you want, go for that. But if you think that you're allowed to change your mind, you know what I mean? So don't feel like, dang, just because I already said like, or just because you started looking somewhere doesn't mean that you can't backtrack. Because honestly, my next property is probably going to be a townhome or something that is more, I feel like I could rent out easier, and especially here because we're in between two bases. We're really three. We have Eglin, Herbert Field, and then Duke Field. So it's like a bunch of military, a bunch of people always rotating in and out. And that was another thing that I was looking for when I was looking at location, because Crestview, I really feel like is for the buyers. I don't think anybody's coming up here to rent for real. What do you think?
They are, but because everything is so much newer in this area, it's hiking the price. And because people know that this is military,
yeah,
they're hiking the price.
Okay.
So, and another thing to piggyback off what she was saying. Sorry.
I'm trying to go home.
So another thing to say, when you're house shopping, and this is geared mainly towards my military people, because I see a lot of people coming here all the time and their list is like longer than life. If you are military, this is not your forever home. This is not your forever home. You don't want all the bells and whistles in that home, because you're going to probably leave and you're going to rent it out. Do you want you want granite and you want chandeliers that cost thousands of dollars? Do you want a renter to come in there and listen? So just be mindful of that. And that's just, anybody, if you're buying a property that's not forever, you don't plan to be there forever, don't go all out. It's okay to not, have all the bells and whistles. It's okay to settle just a little bit to stay within budget. So that's a really big thing.
Okay, so then what are some trends that you see right now, like in the housing market? Like, is there anything where you notice like, okay, I need to kind of move my attention towards this, like this is what they're more interested in? Is that dog?
So right now it is a seller's market here. So right now there are so many buyers coming in, houses are flying off the shelf. So we're getting multiple offer situations, or before they even hit the market, they're being sold. The biggest thing is to be engaged with your realtor. Be engaged with your realtor. And if your realtor is not engaging with you, especially if you're on a specific timeline, then you kind of got to reach out to them too, give them a chance. But communication. The biggest thing that I'm seeing right now is a lot of people want one-story homes. They want open concept. If you're like in this area right now, a lot of people are looking location. Location is a big thing. They want to be kind of close to base, or they want to be close, to the beach, or things like that. But the biggest thing right now is it's a seller's market. Right now it's PCS season. Yeah. For those that don't know, it's permanent change of station. It's when the military move because school's out. So they try to move everybody so kids don't have to switch schools in the middle of the school year. But the biggest thing is people are searching from far away. So if you see something you like, hop on it.
Yeah.
So,
because honestly, I think I started my process in like April of last year, and I was closing by like the last couple days of May. Like it was really only 30 days. I did my so that's another thing. So I did my loan through Navy Federal, and they had a program. It's like a realtor program. So you could use their realtor. It's kind of like a find a car program. So you use their realtor to help you find your house, and then I don't even think you really needed to close with Navy Federal as a whole, like your whole loan through them. But because you use the service, they give you a check back. I think I got like $1,300 back just off the strength of me using that service. So look for things like that because once you close, like, oh, okay, I closed. Now I had to buy blinds. I think I spent like $800 on blinds alone. People was looking at my house for like the first week. There was just like little things that it's so basic that you really don't even take it into consideration. And then when you're sitting there, you're like, I should probably get blinds. So I had like these little paper shades up. I was like, oh, this is so ghetto. But things like that. What else did I'm trying to think of anything else and I think it was Navy Federal, USAA, and one other bank that qualifies. So it doesn't just have to be specifically them, but it's just something to consider, and ask that question because I had to ask about it. I don't think anybody just threw it out there for me. The other thing to know is that your loan is probably going to be sold once you close. And I did not know that. So I was like, who are these folks? Right at me. So my loan is now with PennyMac, but I think that's the thing. Like they always sell them off, like your loan once you close. So
I don't know why they do that, but since I purchased my house, my loan has probably been sold about twice. It actually just moved. It just moved within the last month.
And it's like involuntary. Like they don't tell you. So
they just
get
you a letter. They tell you, hey, next month you're gonna be with this XYZ bank, so change all your auto pay, change everything, and let's get you confused all over again. So that is one thing. And then there was another thing. So there's other loan companies out there. So I got this offer one time in the mail, and y'all, I swear I felt so stupid, like on the back end. So it was basically saying like, we can lower your rate to this much. It was like a low 3. And give you like $2,000 in cash. But they were gonna come out and like re-sign the documents like the next day. Like I was like, who are these people? But it came to me so official. Like it came to me in like a VA envelope and all this stuff. And when I started doing my research, they were basically taking the equity that I had earned in my house so far, giving that to me in cash. So you really weren't benefiting from like long term. If you really were thinking about having your house for 15 or 30 years, you weren't benefiting from doing that. So just be cognizant of things like that. Just because it looks good doesn't mean it's always good. No, it's not. Yeah, the biggest thing is if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I still have some of my buyers who get things in the mail as far as like people send us $20 and we'll send you your deed. You get your deed at closing.
I think I got with something like that. I think it was like $60.
So it's just good to be, and most of the time is your when you go to closing, the title agent will kind of give you a heads up, like, hey, your mail is about to be looking real different. So just don't, everybody's trying to, because you closed on your loan and now it's public record. Once they kind of put it into the, clerk of courts, it's all public record. So now everyone's like, oh, I can offer you this, that. Nah, we all right.
I'm cool right where I'm at.
So,
okay. Let me see. Let me just see if I can think of anything else. We talked about things to consider. If you guys have any questions, I mean, it's supposed to be interactive, so we'll answer it. We'll go back and forth. But
is there anybody like currently in the process of buying a house right now, and you kind of got some questions?
Yeah.
Because if you have questions throughout your home buying process, your agent or your lender are your go-to people. So the agent and the lender need to be on the same page. They need to be in contact. the relationship, like it's the three of y'all, or the three entities, they all need to be on the same page, kind of like all the time. I know some people are like, well, I don't want my realtor in my financial business. Listen, I don't want to be in financial. I just need to know how much you are approved for.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make sure, and that's another thing I'm going to talk about, that you don't go buy a brand new car in the middle of purchasing your home. That's one of the things. So a big thing when people are looking to buy a house, if you are looking to purchase a mortgage is thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on where you live, XYZ. Very minute things can make home buying gone. So if you are looking to buy a house after you get your pre-approval, don't do anything with your credit. Don't apply for a loan. Don't, I know people are like, oh, well, when I get the new house, I need furniture, I need this, I need that. You do all of that after you close on the house, because all those inquiries, your lender, the things that, even if you go through like a credit person and wipes your credit, a lender can see things that you didn't think were there anymore. A lender they're like public FBI agents for your money. Just think of it like that. So they look at all your bank statements. They look at any bank account that you have to submit that information to them. Yeah. And if something doesn't add up, like say you're getting $10,000 a month deposited into your account, you've got to tell them where that money's coming from. So you really have to be, and it's you got to get transparent with your lender, not with your realtor. You don't have to tell them that, but you just have to be very cognizant, and you have to kind of put the speed bump. So if you want a new car and a new house at the same time, you might want to talk to your mortgage lender beforehand to see the best route to go so that you can have all that.
Y'all, speaking of which, so like I said, when I got here, I had just PCS. I had given my car to my mom before I left because she was keeping Cam for me, because both me and Cam's dad were deploying. So I gave her the car. So when I got back, I had no car, right? And I need to get around. I need to, at least out process. So I went and bought at least this Audi, and y'all, that was probably the dumbest thing I could have done. I mean, it didn't really hurt me too much because I had a really, really good credit, but it was like, it was just so dumb. It was so dumb. Even my realtor, she was like, so like, why? And now I don't understand. So definitely don't do that. But other than that, I didn't touch. And like I said, I was moving, so it's like you need your internet. And I think, who is it that checks your credit? It's like is it the internet?
People check
yeah, I'm like, but so it calls for those things. You know what I mean? So just when you said it, girl.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Side Shepherd. He said the Homes for Heroes program is great for first responders and military, and a lot of realtors who work with military offer some form of a rebate as well. He's a realtor as well. I think, where are you guys? Are y'all in North Carolina or are y'all in Texas? I just talked to Alyssa. I don't know.
Yes. The Homes for Heroes program is really great. I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head. You might know, sir. But they give a percentage of your, they give a percentage back to you, kind of like the program, the USAA and the Navy Federal, but it's a little bit different. It's a lot of bit different, actually. That is a great program as well. It's called Home for Heroes. They actually have a couple other programs as well. But the biggest thing to do is to say to your realtor or your lender or both, like, hey, I see that Navy Federal and Homes for Heroes does this kind of rebate program. Do you guys offer anything like that? 9 times out of 10, they do. So I have most of my sellers and things like that. They come to me, and there's incentives is the big word, the incentives. So yeah, the biggest thing is to ask. The worst that they say is no. So, and they're not. So
my dad said talk about using credit unions like Navy Federal and USAA versus conventional banks.
I cannot speak on that as far as which one is better, if that's what you mean, Dad. have heard.
I always heard credit unions were better.
I've heard credit, and that's all I use are credit unions. When I went through my VA loan, I didn't use a credit union. I went through a local lender that my realtor suggested. So it's personal choice. That's why I say compare rates, because you might go through Navy Federal and then you might see that a local lender right down the street from your house offers a rate, or they'll match it. So that's another thing as well. They'll match it and throw in a little, incentive on top of it. So, I can't say one is better than the other. I can't say that, but I just say shop around.
Yeah. The other thing, so when I was buying, my house was not done being built yet. So I did like my appraisal and all of that through the same, my insurance through, I've used DR Horton. And so I know a lot of people sometimes say to get an outside like appraiser, because sometimes when they're in the same boat, they'll miss over things, or they won't,
they kind of get, I don't know if they'll miss over that. Sometimes they might get complacent because a builder is seeing the same model home 10 times or something like that. I know for VA loans, your lender specifically has to go through a certain program to have a VA appraiser assigned. Inspectors are your choice. Your realtor normally will recommend someone who's good, cost efficient, and they don't miss things, because if they miss something, if your inspector misses something that your realtor has recommended, then it kind of comes back on you, and so you don't want to look bad, and your inspector doesn't want to look bad, and so it's a big network, believe it or not. It's a really big network. And if things are missed, I tell my buyers, and that's not everybody, but you're in a brand new home, so you have a home warranty.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is be very, very detailed. And if you do buy a house, ask the seller to provide a warranty. And if they're not able to, then hey, I want to get a home warranty. That is like the biggest thing that I can recommend to anybody, is get a home warranty. It's up to you, whoever pays for it, but you need a home warranty, because that first year, you're so in love with the house that you're not looking at vents and plug sockets. The inspector does, but sometimes they're human. So the biggest thing is get a home warranty, because you might be in a shower one day and you look down and you like, is my faucet upside down? And you were so in love with the house at the granite and the chandeliers and stuff that you weren't thinking about, should I look at the faucet? So things like that, once the novelty wears down and then you come down from your high, that's when reality sets in.
Yeah.
So
I know for me, I think I only had like 3 things. One was like my sockets weren't working, so I was like, what the heck? So I called them and they had like sheetrock or something. Like it wasn't even supposed to be on that level of the house.
Oh wow.
But like it was blocked. I couldn't plug in anything to like charge my phone. There was that. I think my water pipe busted. Like my water bill was insane that month. But if you do encounter something like that and you take it to the utility place, usually they'll refund you that money back for the difference of what it typically is. And then the other thing was my house didn't have any like insulation up top. So like in the winter time, like all the heat would be rising to the top, like all the houses would be frosted over, and mine would just be like bare. Like there was nothing up there. And I remember my electric bills in the winter were like close to $300. Oh, wow. And it's like me and Cam. So I was like, what on earth? But it was within the first year. So those things, they'll do in my stove. Y'all, I remember I used to try and cook, and my stove would be on for like 10 minutes. And so I'm like, okay, because you set the timer, you walk away, cool. I came back, my whole joint, it was like not even power on it. Like, and I would have to go outside, flip the breaker, come back, turn it on again. And I had to have them come out a couple times, because it was like, it would act funny. Like they would come and check it out and be like, well, it's not acting up, so we can't do anything about it. And register your appliances. I have Frigidaire appliances. Make sure you get that serial number off of there. And I don't know what the time frame is, but I think mine was like 60 days.
Yeah.
And make sure that you register those for that warranty as well. But that first year, like, don't just get comfortable. Go around, look, see if you're missing anything. I think even my front door, like the thing, you know how you turn it this way, it only turns this way. I don't know, y'all. So
and she's speaking from a new build perspective.
Yeah, this house was just built.
New build.
So,
like if you get into a house that's been built maybe 10 something years like that, it's gonna have some wear and tear. But you know, there are certain things. If your power is, you might have an electrical issue outside of that. And that's just the biggest thing when you buy a new build house, is to make sure you realize that hands built that house.
Yeah.
So, you know, humans built that house. So you're more than likely going to find some things that kind of might need to be readdressed.
But yeah, I think other than that, I think that home buying or buying of property is definitely a good investment. I think that it pays off. I guess I'll be transparent. So my house was $227, and it was like $232 by the time that I closed, but it's like about $237, like starting now. So that's like $9,000 from $232 to no.
$4,000, $232
Girl, I have to look it up. It's $230. It was $227. It's $236 now.
Okay, so that might have been like because your VA, they throw a VA funding fee in there.
No, not what I owe. Like when I look and see what it's listed for, like
how much it's worth. Yes,
yeah, how much it's appreciated, and that's like I said, I've been in here for 1 year, so like I think that you really. I just think it's worth it. I think that once I leave here, I'll probably stay in this house, whether I'm like in it or renting it, at least while I'm still here, because I'll be able to take that money and go and put it back in somewhere else, you know, property. But I think especially for us, you know, buying is just so important. And I don't regret it at all, even with the little hiccups and the little, you know, things here and there. If I want to do something, I know y'all see like my DIY, like I can do it. I don't need to ask anybody permission unless it's like some HOA, which is another thing. Which is unless it's some HOA, you can really make it your own and do what you need to do there. So the only other thing I had was the homestead exemption. And I don't know what states it's for. I know it's definitely for Florida, but basically it reduces the overall taxes on your house. So instead of paying on like $200,000 worth of house, you might pay on like $100,000. And so those things make a difference. I even got a check I was like overpaying my escrow or something. And so I got a check back for like $2,000. So it's like little things here and there. I'll be like, you know what? There is something for this house buying thing. Like I love stuff like that. Good advice. Who's my builder? My builder is D.R. Horton. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. I wasn't before I got here, but I think they're
worldwide. I don't want to say worldwide. They're a U.S. builder. You probably can Google them, and they probably have or are building near you. I don't know where whoever asked that question
That's
is.
my dad.
Where's he at?
Houston.
Oh, D.R. Horton is down in Texas, sir.
Houston.
I don't know if they're in Houston, but I know they're in San Antonio. I don't know how close.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, it's not too close. But I know that D.R. Horton is in Texas. And if they ain't in Houston now, they're going to be there pretty soon.
Yeah.
So
I think overall, they're good builders. I hear people have, you know, their complaints, but you know, you can't please everybody. Like somebody gonna find something that they don't like, and people start complaining. He said, yeah, they are there in Texas. So really form your own opinions when you're looking. I knew that I really wanted something that was a little bit newer, just because I didn't want to have to deal with the wear and tear. I know, for example, I hope my mom don't mind. Loretta, I love you, girl. So my mom bought a house last year too, and it was something about the roof, like, and trying to get insurance for the house. The appraiser like neglected the roof, and it was 18 years old and needed to be replaced at 20 years. And so when she was trying to find insurance, she had already closed on the house, and she was trying to do something, and they like would not cover the whole roof. So my mom would have to pay for a whole roof. She just moved into this house. Wow. So like, not saying that everybody's gonna try and get over on you, but just make sure that when you're looking, you're really being patient and you're not so eager and so excited about what you see. Because I think this was like the fourth or fifth house that I looked at, and I was just like, at the first one, you got your poker face on, you're just like, very nice, very nice. I see your account building. I see your recess letting. I'm very impressed. Cool, cool, cool. And then I settled on this one just because I felt like it wasn't doing too much, and I really wanted room for Cam to be able to like terrorize the house, and then I could be in my corner. So down bones. So just be patient. Don't get frustrated with the process because you're gonna have to turn it. And that was the other thing. The things that I had to turn in. I think it was like my last 2 years of my tax, my W-2s, my last 60 days as far as my pay stubs, anything, any extra income that you have coming in, whether you have like a divorce decree or anything, alimony, all of that is going to be considered when you're turning in your documents. So just go ahead and get those things kind of squared away so it can make your process flow. I know some people, they're like, oh my God, this is taking forever, because you'll have to send it up, send it twice, send it 3 times, like, and just when it comes back to you, just fill it out and excuse me, and send it right back so it doesn't feel like it's weighing on you and that it's becoming so much, because it is a lot of paperwork.
And you have time. So normally from contract to close, I tell for VA, it can be about 30 days. Mm-hmm. And in that 30 days is when you're going to do all that stuff. So don't think like, oh my God, before I call and I got to find my IRS stuff and I ain't, somebody down the street did my taxes. I don't know what that. I wish somebody down the street did my taxes. But no, I'm joking. But no, for real. So you don't have to, do all that, because your lender should and will be helping you along the way. Most of the time you just sign like release forms and they can go and get that stuff. I told you, they little mini FBI agents. they know all your business. But yeah, it's about 30 days. And I tell them, expect 30 to 45 days. That way they don't put a date in their head and then say the inspection comes back that we need to fix something that's going to push you past that date. Yeah. So now you got to find extra housing and things like that. So, yeah, it just between 30 and 45 days. Now, some lenders will clear you to close in like 15 days. And then you're like, oh, I might save me a little bit of money on my rent. So let me move it a little earlier. Or you might have to ask your rental, hey, can I extend 3 or 4 days extra because I haven't quite closed yet? So just take those things into consideration. Just plan. What is it? Prepare for the worst, expect the best.
That's it. And I think the only other thing I would say is to buy it for military, like when you get there. I think that some people are like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be here or whatever. But in order, I feel like for me to get the most out of it, even if I'm only here 3 years, that's still money that I could have, that could have been appreciated off of. You know what I mean? I know my neighbor in front of me, I hope she don't mind either. I'm just telling everybody business. But I think she bought her house for like $210 and it's worth like $221. And she had already paid down a couple thousand. So it's like, and she's been in there like a little over a year too. So that's like $17,000 that you're really talking about. Now you're going to have to pay like maybe your property manager and like, once you're selling it. But still, that's $17,000 that you didn't have before. Okay. So I definitely see the benefit of buying property and land. We ain't here to talk about land, but I was over at this hair salon or a hair store, and this lady had turned her whole hair store. She like lived above it, had renovated the whole thing out. Y'all, I can't even make this up. She had like 3 tenants in the back of that thing. She was like planning on building condos because it was her land. You know what I mean? So don't underestimate the value of land as well. I think that's something it don't really pique my interest, but for people that are looking to, have their money, make money and expound and things like that, look at the value of the land. I had a friend, she's into like tiny homes and stuff like that. And she was going to buy property and have the tiny home because I think it was like $90,000 to $100,000 for real. And just, just be stacking up, just stacking and stacking. I think that sometimes the real benefit, the real win is, in your bank account, not necessarily in what you got. So like the only reason I can do this is because I can actually afford it. But if I was struggling from paycheck to paycheck, this would not have ever been worth it. You know what I mean? So don't be so caught up in that. Flipping land and buying multi-family homes. Yeah. That's like with the I don't
talking about like duplexes and condos and fourplexes. Yeah, so right now here where we're located, it's a little difficult. I work with a couple clients who are actually looking for that, and I kid you not, they fly. There's quite a few investors out here. So the biggest thing to do is you really got to be searching like all day. And it may not be the same wherever you're located, but in different areas, you just have to, think about that kind of stuff. They fly off the shelves here. If you want to purchase a full, I think it was a fourplex that went on the market, and I think it was under contract like 2 hours after it hit the market. I'm like, I didn't even get a chance to look at it.
How much is something like
that? It just depends if it needs work. I think this one was around maybe $250,000.
That's not bad, y'all.
So and the biggest motto that I tell myself, I think I read it somewhere, I don't remember, but the biggest thing is don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. Let me say that again.
You say so nice. Say it twice.
Don't wait to buy real estate.
Yes.
Buy real estate and wait. Because something is land, it might be 10 grand right now. And you're like, oh, I don't want that. XYZ. Buy up that land. And then in a couple years, when they start building like they are here now, they're going to want that land. And it's going to be worth so much more than you could ever have imagined that it would be worth. Some little, auction 10 grand piece of land. So
the it's a hair store, not a hair salon. But she was saying the people that sold it to her, they had lived in that place for like 20 years. They didn't do anything with it. And they came back to visit, and they came by the property and saw everything that she had done with it. And they were like mind blown, because it's just like you can't get that back.
Yeah.
And now they are starting to build, where she's at. It's like a central location. And she was like, she wouldn't get rid of that place for less than $1 million. Because it was like on the line of residential and commercial.
Oh,
so they couldn't just come and like say, oh, we're about to build whatever here and move her out. You know what I mean? So you really get to be in a position where you can make those calls. And I thought that was so boss. I sat there and talked to this lady for hours, just like picking her brain, because I think that that's really the goal, is generational wealth and looking at ways to where you don't have to completely break your back to have your money make money for you. So just something to think about. If you guys have any questions, we'll get those. But I think we hit them for the most part. I know everybody's still kind of at work, but I just wanted to touch on that with you guys. And I think we hit everything. Yep. I just wanted to touch on that with you guys. So if you have anything you want to say even after this is over, you can just write it down in the comments and I'll come back, or Anna will come back, because she's the expert, and she'll answer if I can't answer. But I hope that you guys do consider buying homes in the future. I hope that if you're buying them now, it is everything you thought it would be. And don't be intimidated by the process. I will say that. I think it's very rewarding and very beneficial. So,
and if y'all have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. I know I'm just here for a small time. Well, not that page. We'll put my business page in the link in the thing. So not on that one as much. I don't get. It's a different type of notification. But I would love to come back if you got people that got more questions. I'll come back. I'll sit down and talk to people, or feel free to inbox me. It's been good. It's been fun.
And also, because we didn't say, like, some things are for the state of Florida. Like, every state has different rules and stuff. So if you're coming and you don't live in Florida or whatever, I guess my whole thing is like, they might not apply where you're at.
Real estate is different in every state. So what works in Florida, like houses flying off the shelf, They might be sitting down in Idaho or somewhere. So just think about that. The biggest thing that I tell my buyers, and I know a lot of people think that when you're going to buy a house that you're paying a realtor, the biggest thing, the seller pays that commission. So don't think that, you have to put a realtor on retainer. That is a big thing that I run across all the time. I don't have money to pay this person. Huh?
What do you mean on retainer? What's that?
People think kind of like if you hire a lawyer, you got to put them on retainer. It don't work like that in real estate world. And the biggest thing when you go to buy a house, get a realtor. Get a realtor. The biggest thing that you want is someone in your corner fighting for you. Yeah. So the person that's listing the house, they are a good source as well, but you also want someone who's, in your corner. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, and every state is different. Sometimes that agent is strictly in favor for their seller. They're trying to get their seller the best deal. So you just want to make sure you have a realtor that is separate. That's kind of what I recommend to my people, because you want to, have someone who has your best interest. Yeah. So that's a big thing. Let me see.
Anything else?
I know. I'm trying to think. That is pretty much it. It's a whirlwind. It's a roller coaster on the road to closing. I promise you. Just because you said I want this house, it's a waiting game. Yeah. You got inspections and appraisals, and you got to make sure your finances are good to get everything there. So just my biggest thing is to relax. Don't stress too much. Let your realtor and your lender work for you. Trust the process.
Yeah. Trust the process. All right. Well, I think we have covered all the questions. So thank you guys for joining us. I'll be doing another live probably next week. I'll throw some topics out there, and hopefully you guys will write in and we can kind of go back and forth. If you like stuff like this, give me like a thumbs up or a comment below. And then I'm also going to start uploading these to YouTube. So I'll drop that channel information once I get that up and running and like all professional again. So thank you so much for joining me. I literally just reached out. Like we had this group in Okaloosa, and is it a question? Oh no. I just reached out and I was like, do y'all know any realtors? Yes or no? And they just started like tagging them. And so I just reached out to her and this is our first time meeting. So thank you again. Because I'm not, some professional blogger. So I really appreciate when people take their time out to come and sit with me.
And it was fun.
And share with you guys. So we're going to wrap it up. Like I said, if you have any other questions, RL Porters did a great job. Thanks for the info.
Thank you, sir.
If you have any questions, just continue to comment. Either one of us will get back to you, whether I'm expounding on my experience or whether Anna can answer it. But we are going to go ahead and close things down. This will be on my page and on my low-key Facebook page. And I'll also post snippets on Instagram. My Instagram is lowkey, L-O-K-E-Y, no W, LOKEY_blog on Instagram. So go check that out, like this, share this, and just keep the love going. So we will talk to you guys later.